Afeera is one of the few characters whose light and zone do the exact same damage, so off of a heavy parry you'll want to go for a light for 12 damage to cost less stamina. She can get even more damage by doing a bash into either a top or right side heavy. This will do 18 damage, which is already pretty high for a heavy parry. If there's a wall to the right, you can go for a bash into left heavy into top heavy. This will do 35 damage in total off of a heavy parry. Nice going, Yubi. Off of a light parry, you can get a 25 damage top heavy, or you can get that same 35 damage punish if there's a wall to the right. Off of a guard break, you get a 22 damage side heavy. Top is blockable. When throwing an opponent into a wall, it's possible to get the 35 damage punish off of the bash, but you have to time the bash correctly. If you land the bash too early, then they will be able to block the heavy and not get wall splatted, and if you do it too late, then obviously they'll be able to dodge it. It seems off of the forward throw, you can immediately side dodge and then do the bash and it'll land perfectly. This doesn't really work quite as consistently with side throws. You actually have to be the correct distance away from the wall. But after just messing around with it in training grounds for a while, I was able to get the timing down pretty well with just throwing them into the wall and timing it, so I'd say if you want the punish, just practice that. You are also able to just throw them into the wall and get 25 damage top heavy though if you want to be boring like that. Off of a deflect, she gets her bash, which has the exact same punishes as her bash normally would. If you're out of stamina, a light parry and guard break will give you a 12 damage light. Direction does not matter. When throwing an opponent into a wall, you will never get your top heavy, or at least I was never able to when I was testing it out. Off of a forward throw while you're out of stamina, you will always get your 22 damage side heavy. Getting the side heavy off of any other direction throw isn't going to be guaranteed, but it isn't going to be that difficult to get. The distance is quite forgiving. Throwing an out of stamina opponent backwards will give you 2 top heavies if your guard was already top. If you were guarding side during the throw, then they will be able to block the second heavy. 2 right side heavies for 50 damage will always be possible. Make sure you don't do a left chain heavy because it does 2 less damage. Now this is where it gets real interesting, because if you backwards throw them while guarding top, you can do a top heavy, second heavy feint into bash, left heavy into top heavy for 65 total damage. Obviously, there's not always going to be a wall in the perfect place for you to get that punish, so it's a lot more realistic for you to just throw them in whatever direction, get your side heavy, and then carry out the rest of the punish. This will do 3 less damage for 62 total. Parrying an out of stamina opponent will give you side heavy into heavy for 50 total damage. You can also perform the 62 damage punish if there's a wall nearby. Okay, so going back through and testing it, you can apparently just do a heavy and then the bash straight afterwards and still have it land on wake up perfectly timed. This will save a lot of stamina, but just make sure you don't do the input soon enough to where you'll just do a chain bash instead of the neutral.